how's everybody doing? It's 4:20 on a Wednesday afternoon, and this is going to be the first of Wednesdays in May. I'm doing a fundraiser for Backline. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, this month of May, and especially important in these times of the coronavirus and shelter in place and everything going upside down. That people are staying in touch with, those that are in need and need help, and Backline is a great provider of service to specifically musicians and crew members and people in my industry to help them get through what they got to get through and give them support. So in lieu of the virtual tip jar for Wednesdays in May, I'm asking those that can help, only if you can, but if you can help, I have a fundraiser for Backline that you can donate to, and we're trying to reach a goal of $2,000, and I'm really humbled to say that I announced it yesterday and we're already past 50% of the goal before we even had this first show. So thank you so much to everybody who's contributed so far. It means a lot to me, it means a lot to Backline and to the people that they support. And it just means the world to me. So thank you. And I think that you can read in the notes there, if you donate $100 or more, you're going to get a ticket to a ticketed event that we will announce later in the month. I'm working with Backline to do something special for those who donated that much. Happy to be here, and I've got a really special guest today, my friend Reid Genauer from Assembly of Dust and Strange Folk, and we just recently did a tour, Reid and Folks tour, along with Doobie Decibel System, which was I think the last tour that I did before everything shut down. It was one of the last road gigs I think I did. But we have some new videos that we did recently using the acapella app of some a song that we conspired on years ago, and a cover that Reid suggested, and so we'll get to chat and play those videos in a few. But I'm gonna just kick it off with a couple songs using this loop pedal, and away we go. All right. That was Ain't No Sunshine. Bill Withers, rest in peace. All right, I'm going to do one more and then get Reid on here. So when I use this loop pedal, there's two different kind of functions that I use it with. And the one that I just did is kind of a layered loop where the song only has one part. And in the three different sections, I layer, like I had strings in 3, piano in 2, and the guitar in 1. And I was bringing them back, I was fading them out, doing whatnot. In this other mode, which I go to now, this is more sectional, so each section is a different part of the song. And I can layer as much as I want within a section. So there is your looping info. Make sure everything is erased on this new thing. And this is a song called Old Shanghai from the Beck Songreader. When you're walking in old Shanghai, lanterns under the night sky, see the moon begin to rise just like it did back home. Old men smoking in cafes, junk boats floating on the bay. Think of me while you're away in old Shanghai. With no ties, with no plans, your last dollar in your hand. Take a picture and send it back to someone you used to know. Things will always find Bay. There's more to do than there is to say in old Shanghai. Ties, with no plans, your last dollar in your hands. Take a picture and send it back to someone you used to know. You're walking in old Shanghai, mountains under the night sky. See the moon begin to rise, just like it did back home. All right, that was old Shanghai. And yeah, so I've got my friend Reid Genauer. Before we chat live here, I'm gonna have Patrick play one of the videos, but I'll set it up real quick. So I asked Reid if he wanted to do this, and he graciously said yes. And I asked him if he had any song suggestions for us to do on a cappella outside of what we normally would do. And he suggested this Stephen Stills song from Deja Vu called 4+20. And how appropriate is that? The song subject is a little bit more about, I think it's about like a 84-year-old man, but maybe it's something like that. But anyway, it's a great song, and it's kind of in my wheelhouse of kind of dark, dirgy. It's in the right key for my voice, and so we did it, and it was a lot of fun. We did these acapellas. I finished mine this morning. So this has all been done in the last 24 hours, and you're seeing it here first. So go ahead, Patrick, and roll 4+20. 4 years ago, I came into this life, the son of a woman and a man in strife. He was tired of being, and he wasn't into selling door-to-door, and he worked like the devil to me. Different kind of poverty helps me so. Night after sleepless night, I walk the floor and I want to know, why am I so alone? Where is my woman? Can I bring her home? Have I driven her away? Comes to sunrise and I'm driven to my bed. I see that it is empty and there's devils in my head. Embrace the many colors. I grow weary of the torment. I find myself just wishing that my life Hey, we're live. What's up, Rick?
Greetings.
How
Hey,
you
man.
doing?
I'm good. I am good. Lockdown, shakedown.
Lockdown, shakedown. You're not far from me. You're south of San Francisco?
Yeah, I mean, I could bike to your house or to your shelter in place.
Right on.
I might
Well,
need. I need shelter out of place.
we, we should go meet for a socially distanced hike or something like that.
Yeah, I'd like that. I think I
Well,
told you my kids have taken to calling me Papa Wedgie.
oh man, is that because they are giving you wedgies, or because
Well, no, it's because of that. Oh, it's a derivation of Reggie. It's because of you and yours who call me Reggie, and they've adopted it. Reggie to Wedgie, and then the point is they've gone completely Lord of the Flies.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine what it would be like to be going through this as a kid. It must be an interesting experience.
They'll remember it their whole lives for sure. I don't know. It's tough, right? I'm telling you what you already know, but there's been some fun things about it. Like we've gotten creative in ways we wouldn't have for birthdays, and we got the youngest guy it was his birthday, and we got him full set of boxing stuff, like headgear, pads, gloves, the bag, and he's in the garage half the day just punching it because he needs to.
Yeah, good, an outlet. How about music? I know that we've had your boys come up on stage with Assembly of Dust and with Reading Folks most recently. Are they playing music during quarantine as well? Or
They are. They're actually one of it's cool. They're actually doing once a week a soccer practice through Zoom. So they bring the computer out in the backyard and are like, doing stuff. And then they've continued taking their music lessons.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's neat.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, thank you for joining me on this first of the backline fundraiser Wednesdays. And I know that that this is a cause that you believe in too. So I appreciate you being here to support.
I do. I mean, I think in general, like it's weird to me that it's like more socially accept. I can't remember what guitarist it was, but it was maybe the guitarist from Poison or one of those hair metal bands quit heroin and got obese, and he was like, it's weird. It's more socially acceptable to be a heroin addict than it is to be fat or depressed in the United States. And so I think everybody's kind of nuts. It's a natural distribution, and musicians just tend to be we're positives and negatives, right? A little touch back into creativity.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I do.
A lot of times people only see, once, it's like when you come out on stage, you want to be presenting that happy, positive side of yourself, even if you're not feeling that way, and so people may not, know that you're got, stuff on the inside,
Yeah. I mean, the way that I've put it before is like, I think there are people in general that behave this way or experience life this way, but certainly artists of all, classes. You and I probably just more familiar with musical ones, experience life with greater amplitude, and the highs are high and the lows are low, and are able to sort of reflect that back to people. And, like even some of the songs, I mean, I listen to some of my tunes, are pretty dark. And
Right.
there's comfort in knowing that, hey, somebody else is feeling kind of psycho too. But, I think a lot of times, I'm not speaking for myself, those people, those individuals get lost in that veneer you're talking about, and the person doesn't get addressed. So it is something near and dear to me. And then my agent, Josh Knight, was, instrumental in getting it off the ground. And it's something so it's the macro is important, and then I'm personally vested. So,
well, why don't we shift gears to our history? I know some people have heard this story, and I know you did an interview. We did an interview together where we talked about this, but let's talk about our first hang in the East Village. Probably going on 11 10, 11 years ago.
Well, I'll start by just giving the context, which is that Lucy Chapin, a singer-songwriter, lovely woman and mutual friend, and just kind of like acted as a matchmaker and said, Nate had left the band and we weren't forcing the issue. And I just figured someone will show up, that's right. And she introduced us. And I think, both of us had sort of been through the ringer, and we said, well, why don't we just kind of meet and see if she was convinced we were going to love each other, and she was right. But that, make sure there's chemistry before we do anything. Right.
Right. And so you came over to where this apartment in the East Village where I lived for many years, and it was a social hang. It was it was meant to be a social hang, but we were the intent was to play music, and but we were social first, and I just remember getting putting a few back, and we ended up not really playing much.
I couldn't. The truth is, I couldn't. I sat down and I was like, so I think that was a good first litmus test, though.
Yeah, it seemed to work, and then I started playing with AOD, and then we did that duo gig at the Iridium. We did a few duo gigs, I think.
Yeah.
And then we both ended up moving to the Bay Area around the same time as well, from New York. When did you move out here?
Just like a year after you, so 4 years ago, maybe.
I've been here for 7, so maybe I was here for 4 years.
Maybe in March it'll be 5, so 4.5, but not long. And that's another like chapter, is that you were, I guess I had a loose coalition of musicians that I knew here, but you really were like a gateway into the community for me, and it's been such another chapter in our friendship, and cool for me personally. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I was, looking up photos, and we were just talking about this before we were live. We were chatting on StreamYard, talking about how on Facebook you can hit like see friendship and then look at all of the photos that you're both in, and that's how I found the photo that I used for the artwork for this event. But I found one that was from my birthday show, and that I think Blakesburg took, and it was like 30 something people. And I think like one of your first introductions to a lot of the Terrapin folk.
Yeah.
And it was like behind the old RV in the back. I'll send it to you later.
I have it. I know which one it is. That's an awesome shot. It's like it's a herd of musicians and the Elliott Pack. It's like 20 hairy dudes and Elliott. It's been great having you out here, and like thank you for also including me in the Strange Folk shows in Vermont. We're super fun, and everything we've gotten to do together has been a blast. And we have another clip. We can talk about it before we have Patrick play it, but the next clip is the song was like 11 minutes, so I had him trim it down to 2 minutes. But it's a portion of Althea from Crosby and Friends at Terrapin Crossroads, where both you and Phil Lesh were guests, and that was pretty awesome. You had played with Phil and Friends, but this wasn't your first time with Phil, though, right? No, it might have been my second or third, but it was cool. It was like, for me, it was a moment because there was like recognition when I took the stage, and he wasn't like, like, who is this guy? He was more just like, hey, Reid.
Right.
That was so cool. And then backstage, I didn't feel all spastic and like starstruck, and I actually had a conversation with him for the first time. So that was generous of you. And before we played, I was thinking about that, like, Conspire to Smile. And in a way, like, I haven't thought of this before, you also were the inception of that, because prior to that, I was really sort of stuck in this, like, I play in a band mode, and I do, and I like that. But you're so networked and like, such a man of the people. and it sort of opened my eyes and changed my perspective on music as a language of collaboration. So I owe that to you.
Well, thank you, man. That means a lot to hear. All right, well, Patrick, why don't you roll that video, and we'll talk to Reid some more after in a few minutes. And Patrick. Oh, we're live. Hey.
Hey.
So that was cool, man.
Yeah, that was. I don't think I was prepared for that one either. That was like, thank God I knew Althea.
Yeah, I had the lyrics. I know I watched, I hadn't watched that video since we did it or like in the ensuing days. And I watched it today, and I had the lyrics on the end of my keyboard. And so I was definitely not familiar with that one either. We were just like,
neither was Jay Lane, if you watch all the way through.
Oh yeah. Jay stops the song
before the fourth.
Well, I was messing around. I was playing that lick, which is usually something that I guess we would cue the ending. But I was just kind of messing around, and Phil was laughing and goofing around, and Jay thought it was over.
Well, we trucked through.
Yeah, I just came in with another verse.
I never feel too bad. But you know what? I right or wrong, I could make arguments for both sides, but I kind of have I started with the Grateful Dead's ethos that it's authentic, and you're up there doing it, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It's the intent that really matters. And, I'd rather not train wreck for sure, but I don't feel that self-conscious when there's a couple bungles.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a very welcoming and forgiving audience. Speaking of which, thank you to Deadheadland for sending this stream out as well. It's always great to have them included. You were talking about how like your first interaction, like hanging out and talking with Phil, and I was thinking back to when I first played with him at Terrapin, we didn't speak. Because he showed up and sat in the middle of a performance, and we didn't get a really chance to hang. So I think the first thing he said to me when I sat in at the Wellmont, I came to sound check, and he's like, "Hey Jason," and he said, "Are you familiar with the wheel?"
You're like, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I am familiar with the wheel. You mean like the concept of wheel or the something. Yeah. We were just getting alert from Patrick that the donation bar has gone up. So I'm sure he's showing that on the bottom of the screen. So thank you guys to everybody who's donating to the backline. Oh, look at this! We got somebody cutting in.
Made a cameo.
Double
D.
What's up?
Double D. Oh my word! I feel like Howard Stern with one of his minions.
I'm over here now.
Double D.
Are you in Long Island? You got a little mustache going.
For Cinco de Mayo.
Ah, I see.
Dave, are you in Long Island?
Oh, we from? Yeah, I'm on Long Island.
Nice.
I'm in the bunker.
You're in the bunker?
Yeah. How you doing, Reid? Good. I have like my own Dave Diamond, music porn channel on Facebook. It's like Jason Crosby's live, Dave Diamond's live, Jason Crosby's live, then myself. Actually it's more like me, Dave, me, Jason. So this just feels totally normal. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
How did your TV performance go the other night, Dave?
It went good, man. Straight to the point, 30 minutes of bam, bam, bam. And quite a few views. It was cool. It was fun.
That's excellent.
It's legit to have that logo on your video.
Yes. And it was cool because Reid, I did this before I did that. So I was telling Jay, like the adrenaline going, it was kind of like you're on a gig,
That's really interesting. I was talking to Greg Licano about that with these live streams. Like it gives you, I get kind of like nervous. I've been late to all mine because I'm like freaking out, plugging the wrong shit in. And it's a buzz. Like I sort of need like to have a beer and chill out for a minute. Like a lot of times I'll be like, oh yeah, honey, I can go to the supermarket at 4. I'm doing this from 3 to 4, but you get done and I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
Exactly.
Bring me my meats and cheeses.
You should just do a live thing of just eating meat and cheese.
I like how on Teddy Kumpel's show, like they're all jamming, and then sometimes Teddy he'll just be like stoked and he's like listening, and then he'll like open a bag of chips and he's like eating a bag of chips, and they're all like ripping.
Yeah, they all do. It's weird. They go right on the microphone with the bag of chips.
I did it on one of the streams I did recently. I like in that sort of spastic state. I hadn't eaten. I was telling Jason about this, and so I just ate a ham sandwich in between.
That's genius. I told Jeff Mattson he should shave his beard and mustache live. I said, you'll break the internet.
Yeah, I'm not. That's one of those sort of like, do I really want to look at this? I must.
Exactly.
That's what.
But Dave, you've been killing it on using acapella. For those of you, I think most folks know, but it's a cool app that allows you to collaborate with each other and with yourself. And Dave's done a couple really cool videos where he's played everything.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been. Who turned me on to it? It was John Lissess.
Really?
Yeah, I think Yehuba turned him onto it, and then John was like, check this thing out, and I was all over it.
Yeah, and then Dave was telling me about it for like a week or two, and I was like, yeah, go. Well, do it, and then I was like hooked ever since I did one.
We could combine it with Lissess's other idea back to the meat conversation, which is meats on sticks for low carb. It's a chain where you get like a sandwich. You can get a ham sandwich, but it's like wrapped on a stick like a lollipop. So maybe we use the acapella app and combined with John's meats on sticks idea. And
I like it.
And then millions.
We have to have like a boar's head banner behind us and get,
Or you could just wear a boar's head you know.
Well, you can wear that freaky penguin head and that.
Hey, I play ragtime with that stuff, man. That bird mask.
I know you've done it in other contexts. I think you said with Robert Randolph, but I think that has to happen at one of our shows. The ever increasing ragtime at the end with a penguin helmet on.
Yeah, we can do that.
It's freaky in an endearing way.
Yeah, I think Jason's done a lot of things in that penguin head.
This is a family program. Baby.
Oh, sorry.
Are we live? So Dave, when did you join Assembly of Dust? We were kind of talking timelines of Reid and I's history, but when did you kind of come into the fold with us?
2010, because my kid was maybe a year old or getting to that point, and we were cutting the record, and I was like bouncing in between sessions, going home, finding out, like I think my nanny like gave my kid Benadryl. I'm like, something's not right. I remember I had to leave early one time. It was something freaky, but it was 2010.
Wow.
Dave's like, he's the engine at this point. He's like, why aren't we playing more? Put some gigs on the books.
Eventually you started just calling it DD and AOD, right? What did you call it? Dave Diamond and the Assembly of Dust.
Dave Diamond, Double D and AOD. But Conspire to Smile was Dave. I was like, hey, what do you think about this idea? He's like, I love it. We talked about the tunes, and next thing I knew, he started flying me drum tracks. Like, he literally just did it. It was cool. I've never made an album that way. I mean, we started because Dave can play and sing. He did the scratch performances of every tune, including my songs, laid down drum and percussion, the whole thing from the bottom up. And then I did roughs over the top. And then we added bass, so we actually had proper, the proper stems. And then we flew it around to everybody and their mother. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
It was fun. It was fun. Yeah, I mean, and Chris Laybourne, he really, we did another record like that with this girl, Jessie Wagner, and it was remote tracks, and Chris works quick, I mean,
I don't think he had as much fun as we did, though. You were there for more of it. That stuff got kind of gnarly when people would send it in like weird formats or send like, all we needed was like one guitar lick, and they'd send like 50 tracks to troll through without anything labeled as keeper.
Right, exactly. And that's where you find out about like what true zero is. So the track starts from the beginning, not the middle, and blah, 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 blah.
I could tell when he was getting cranky on like from 3,000 miles away. I was just kind of like zone out for a couple days and check out.
Yep.
So Dave or Reid, either of you guys have like a memorable, funny story from our 10-year history on the road together from with Reid at various groups?
This is
one that could be told on a Facebook Live. Keep in mind.
Dave, you start. I've got.
Oh my God. I'm trying to think of one that's, appropriate, that keeps Reid in a good light.
one that came to mind for me was how he would always introduce us, with our favorite, our famous relatives. Like
yes,
you'd be like, we'd start playing. When he'd introduce you, and then he'd be like, David Crosby's son, Jason Crosby.
Right, exactly.
I think when I first saw your name and you were playing under, I said it was High Sierra Fest, wherever it was. I saw your name. It was the Jason Crosby band, and I just assumed you were David Crosby's son like years ago when you first came into my consciousness. And then when we were playing together, I don't know. I yuck it up on stage as it is, and I couldn't help myself. And this is a good story, and I know it kind of like I could feel Jason cringe, Dave less so with the Dave Diamond thing, with the Neil Diamond thing, just because Neil's like the Jewish Elvis. So, but but I could feel Jason cringe every time, and I knew it was sort of irksome, and I took like sort of like brotherly nudging pleasure out of that. And then it started taking off as Jason started kind of, as Jason's career started taking off, and it became this urban myth. And then ultimately it ended, or not ended, but it culminated like a year ago. You sent me a text. It was a screenshot of David Crosby. And what did it say?
He tweeted, he tweeted only this: I do not have a son named Jason.
and he sent me a screenshot of that, and I just wrote back, "My work is done." And I haven't. What I think is great is Jason went to Italy and they put up a huge sign of David Crosby.
I went to the venue owner and I was just like, "Hey man, I'm not related to David Crosby." He's like, "I know." He's like, "I just thought it'd be funny." I'm like, "It's Italian meat."
You meet my friend Reid. You guys have a similar sense of humor. How do you feel about meats on sticks?
Oh, that's awesome, man.
How about you, Dave? I know you're more subdued, but you got to have some. You're always watching. You got to be filing it away.
Well, I'm trying to keep it clean. I mean, all the ones I got are just really gnarly stories.
Come on, I don't mind taking a little skin off my knee.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's a story. The one time we were on the bus. I love telling this to my kid, by the way. She gets a real kick out of this.
So family.
But yeah, it's good. Well, when you're on the bus, right? You can't, go poo on the bus, right? So we were on the parking lot. And we were sleeping overnight, and Reid really had to go. And I'm like, "Reid, where are you going?" And he had a hefty bag in his hand.
Okay, enough.
Okay.
You know where that went.
So, fill in the blanks. But I will say more on the Neil Diamond story. I told my mom, like, yeah, Reid, the singer in the band, keeps, saying, I'm related to Neil Diamond. And my mom was like, "Well, you kind of are." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, she went through this whole family timeline in the Bronx and blah, blah, blah. So there is a, a little, I'm like, I don't want to know this.
So
I don't want to know this, Mom.
Like fourth cousin?
Something stupid.
My uncle's name is David Crosby.
Right. I know that. Yes.
My mom's brother is, and that's why it would always flip me out, because people would say, "Are you related to David Crosby?" And I felt like I was disrespecting my uncle to say no, but if I said yes, then I would be perpetuating this myth, So, and I, generally, like, if somebody's asking me after a show, unless I have time to explain the story, it's just so I would just kind of say, no, or kind of, or I don't know what I do, but
that's right. It's a good aura to have about you. I'm trying to think of other funny stories. I was saying to Jason, like, really, Jay just came in, and you did too, Dave. You came and learned the songs, and then added what was added you to it. And Jason, he more did the latter part, the learning not so much, but in fairness, he hears this stuff quickly, and the songs aren't, are usually logical twists and turns. But there's one or two parts that I, that are signature and that I was like insistent on. And one is the, like the Cream style lick in Honey Creeper. Dun, 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 dun. And it really drives that part. And like, it's kind of like me calling him David Crosby. I can see every time he plays it that it pisses him off, and it gives me some sort of sick pleasure. I look over when he's playing it, he's kind of glaring at me.
Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Is this correct?
That's it.
No, it never made me feel bad. I'm sorry for not learning the stuff better. I tend to go. I think I play better when I'm not reading a chart. I think that's just something that I. like if I know the song 80%, you'll still get a better total result because I'll put myself into it and my ears into it. Where if I'm reading a chart, then I start to think more mechanically. I don't know. I mean,
Absolutely. I mean,
could be a cop out.
no, it's not. And it's, I think it's cool too, because, you know, with the exception of like the signature licks that either tell people this is that song or like pull us out of a solo, it's neat to hear the songs breathe and evolve. And that was what, you know, like it doesn't, there's something else glorious about a band playing together that knows like every twist and turn. That's a beautiful thing unto itself. But doing those Reid and folk shows, that to me, it was, you know, besides like the hang socially, which was cool, just hearing the music like through somebody else's lens was so refreshing for me. I don't know how the audience felt. I don't know how you guys felt.
I thought it felt great. I think it goes definitely with the spirit of like, you know, what Phil does. You know, like I think he wants to hear stuff like that. He doesn't want, you know, to hear what he heard for the past 55 years. He wants to hear what these people that he's chosen to play with him, like, what do you think? You know, where does this take you? You know? So I think that, you know, my approach is benefited there because I didn't take the time to learn or chart out, you know, the Grateful Dead stuff either. It's just kind of like, well, you know, like this stuff is kind of in me and I know what the spirit is, and, you know, let's, you know, trial by fire, you know.
It's pretty rare you're going to play a bad note though, man.
What's that?
It's pretty rare that a bad note's going to come out of you.
Oh, well, thank you, Davey.
I mean, the last Reid and Folk show we did at Terrapin, you know, Jay was like jet lagged on another plane, and there was one chord he hit, and I was like, whoa. and Lissesse always has the knack of being in the way of like when I want to connect with Jay, he's just like this lummox. It's like, get out of the way. And Jay hit this chord, and I was like, oh. And I look up and I waited for John to move, and as soon as he moved, Jay looked at me like what did I just play?
It's the opposite for me because John's like, he's like the bum note, bum chord, bum lyric police in AOD, and he knows the songs better than I do. Like, it's, you know, a function of the way his brain works versus mine. But every time I like Murph, even a slight lyric, you know, there's train wrecks where I sing the wrong verse or whatever. But like even just a word, I can't look at him for like 4 minutes because I just don't want to make eye contact with him. It's sort of like, you know, it again, it's friendly, but I feel myself like avoiding eye contact.
He's watching this, by the way.
Yeah,
he knows. I love that about him.
Actually, I see him. I can't see you, Dave. I see John Lissesse. Wait. Listen to this chord. Well, guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you, Dave, for popping in and joining us. And thank you, Reid, for being the guest for this first of Wednesday Backline fundraisers. It's getting towards the end of the hour, so I think I'm going to let you guys go. But before I do, Reid, do you want to tell us about this last video that we're going to play?
Sure. Yeah. So Jason and I have written a couple songs together, I think 2, but this was really the one we were most proud of. It's called Arkansas Down. And if you listen to it, you can hear it's pretty obvious what is me and what's Jay. And it's, you know, in this incarnation, Dave, me, Jason, John, and Adam, this was one of, let's say, 10 songs that were really core to us. And it's one of the better ones. And I've said this a bunch of times recently, again, in and around the notion of collaboration. I think most of the songs that I've been a part of writing, the better ones are ones that are co-writes because you have the musical, you know, diversity. And like, it'd be like, I always joke, like, what would happen if you had a baby with yourself over and over again? The thing would be, not very attractive. But when you mix genetics, ideally from different gene pools, you get beautiful human beings. And same with songs.
I remember you coming over back to the same apartment in the East Village where we first met. I think that's where we did that writing session for this song. And I don't think the song was anywhere near done when you brought it over. It was like I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but my vague memory is you were like, so if the song were to go here, where would be a good place for it to go from here to get to there, or right? Wasn't it stuff like that where I was like, and we had worked with a couple different progressions and like.
Yeah, it was like more or less give me the blue note, give me the special Crosby, because I know what I do, and it's more or less what Leonard Skinner would do, or Marshall Tucker band, which is just play the same damn 3 chords over and over again. So what would you do? And that's what I'm talking about. That's what's beautiful.
Oh shit. Well, thanks, man. Well, thank you guys so much. I love you both. And
great to see you guys.
Yeah, great to see you guys too. Much love, and we'll see you again on here soon. And enjoy Arkansas Down.
Thanks, Jay, and thanks.
Lucky Strike cigarettes, no time fools, swayed in the evening, drunk on their stools. Old time music peeled from the walls, down to the floor where the unwanted fall. They were down, they had pride, they were down by the Arkansas line. Agony eased as the evening set in. Ageless hearts drinking impoverished gin. Crowded bars opened their eyes. Ambition poured out, but still where she lies, they were down. They had pride. They were down by the Arkansas line. Empty gray angels, rotten fruit trees, mother of twins down on her knees. Tell me, Rainmaker, what should I do? Gave all I had, I'm asking of you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Tell me, Rainmaker, what should I do? Gave all I had, I'm asking of you. And I gave all I had, I'm asking of you. That's what I do. Lucky Strike cigarettes, no time fools, swayed in the evening, drunk on their stools. Old time music peeled from the walls, fell to the floor with the unwanted fall. They were down, they hadn't pride. They were down by the Arkansas line. They were down by the Arkansas line. 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 Down by the Arkansas line.
All right. Hope you enjoyed Arkansas Down and the chat with Reid Genauer and the guest pop in by Dave Diamond. This format is a lot of fun for me to get to connect with my friends and musical peers that are, we're all going through all of this together. And thank you guys for watching. I'm going to do one more song and close it out. But I just want to give one more shout out to Backline, because Wednesdays in May we are doing this Backline fundraiser, and I really appreciate everyone who's supporting them, because they are in turn supporting musicians and crew members and those that are in need and that have struggles, whether it be with mental health or drug addiction or any other kind of thing that is, plaguing them. And I can only imagine that those things are amplified in this time of COVID-19. So thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Howling Moon Studios and the Moonalice DDS Tribe and Patrick down in San Diego. And this song is off of my record, and it's called Suffer to Fool. And I thought that it was a good time to play this song because, without revealing too much, this was me kind of discussing some of my, demons in song. And luckily I've battled through that, but out came this song. And thank you to Tim Bloom for helping me write it and bringing it out from me. Suffered a fool, took me out and back again, took me to school. I've been made to see, I've heard those I've loved, but the fool who has suffered the most has been me. Broke all the rules, I left and went back again and suffered a fool. I fumbled the truth, I've heard those I've loved, but the fool who has suffered the most has been me. Leading me right to the high limit room sublime. Lay peacefully, waiting poison the well, let you all drink from it. I didn't tell you what I'd done. I have misspelled the word that I gave. Still the fool who has suffered the most has been me. Behold the fears leading me right to the room of doom sublime. Lie peacefully, waiting to somehow remain real kind, real high. So I suffered a fool, and then went back again. Suffered a fool, hurt those I've loved when I suffered a fool, poisoned the well again. Suffered a fool. All right, that was Suffered a Fool off of Cryptologic. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this hour distracted you from the news and all sorts of other stuff that's going on that we probably shouldn't pay too much attention to. But we should pay attention to each other and our families, and staying distant and staying safe. Y'all take care now. Be safe, and we'll see you back here tomorrow with Doobie Decibel System with a couple special guests, Lebo and Chloe Teachin. Take care.